Good morning. My name's Dana, and for the next hour we're going to flow together. I'm going to lead you through a reasonably low, reasonably classical vinyasa flow that is going to be relatively mellow. All right, so if you need a block, have your block handy. Blocks are great tools, great props to help elevate you if the hand doesn't quite reach the floor, if it's just a little bit too much strain. Also blocks are great, and we might use some to put in between our thighs to help wake up our hips a little bit more in some of these poses. Anyway, as I say in most of my classes, please remember that all that I'm telling you, these are all suggestions, so please be mindful of how you're feeling today. And nothing that I suggest that you do should be painful at all. So if you're feeling any type of discomfort, then pull back or stop. There's no pain in yoga. That's kind of like the no-fly zone. You can stretch, you can feel some new things, but no pain, no sharp pain at all, okay? All right, that being said, enjoy. I'm happy to be here, and place your hands on your thighs. Root down through the sits bones, and if you're comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, smooth the space between the brows. Relax the skin over the cheeks, around the ear and the jaw, and soften the throat. Let the root of the tongue be plump, and the tip of the tongue is resting behind the upper teeth of the hard palate. The chest is broad. Sits bones are rooting down through the earth as you lift up through the side body. And as you root down and feel the length through the spine, tuck the chin ever so slightly so you feel even longer through the crown of the head. And be aware of your breath. As the breath moves in through the softened nostrils, through the softened throat, and you feel the air expand the lungs and the ribs. Keep that expansive nature as you exhale through the softened throat, through the softened nostrils. And as you begin to focus on the breath, allow yourself to drop down into the feeling body. How does your body feel this morning? Are you holding any tension? And if you are, what can you readjust in your seat to kind of let it go? Allow the breath maybe to move to some place where you're holding some tightness, and let that melt away with the exhalation. You're going to lick your lips and swallow. Lick your lips in the other direction and swallow. Open the mouth up wide. Relax. Open the mouth up wide. Relax. One last time, open up wide. And relax. Good. When you exhale, drop the chin to the chest. Draw the tips of the shoulder blades down the back body. And then inhale, take the chin up. Rooting down to the sits bones, drawing the sacrum forward. And exhale, chin to the chest. Again, inhale, chin up. And exhale, chin to the chest. And inhale, chin up. And exhale, chin to the chest. Last time, inhaling, chin up. And exhale, chin to the chest. And now inhale the left ear up. And exhale, chin to the chest. Inhale, the right ear up. Exhale, chin to the chest. Inhale, the left ear up. Exhale, chin to the chest. Inhale, the right ear up. Exhale, chin to the chest. And now inhale, chin into the neutral position. And as you exhale, profile shot over the left shoulder. Inhale through center. And exhale over to the right. And inhale through center. And exhaling over the left. And inhaling. And exhaling over to the right. And inhaling through center. Left hand's going to hold on to the right ear as you gently draw the left shoulder and the left ear together. Maybe you plant the right hand and just feel what you feel here. Twisting, softening. Maybe you curve over. Oh my goodness, that feels very nice. Curving over to the right. Maybe curving over to the left. Opening up toward the right. And then release. And then play on the other side. So right hand grabs the left ear. Draw the ear and shoulder together. And move the opposite arm wherever you want to sort of wake up the trunk, the shoulders. Twisting. You arch over toward. Oh, that does feel so good. Gosh. Oh. And bring that hand down. Lovely. Keep the right hand planted. Inhale, take the left overhead. Open the chest up. Root down through that left sits bone. And lift and lengthen the side trunk. And then switch sides. Inhaling, taking the opposite arm overhead. Again, lifting up off the hip girdle, reaching that hand overhead as you twist the body open to look underneath the right armpit, and then come back through center. And place your hands on your knees, and as you exhale, curve and round. So a little bit of a cat tilt here. And then inhale, lift the chest, draw it forward, chin up. And exhale, curving and rounding. And inhaling, chest forward. And exhaling, curving and rounding. And inhaling. And exhaling. One more time. Inhaling, chest forward. And exhaling, spine back. Good. Come back into your neutral spine. And now we're going to do a similar thing. But you're going to interlace your fingers behind your head. And this time as you exhale and curve, you're going to press the hands into the back of the head as you move. So you've got a little bit of traction going in the head. And then inhale. Chest open, press the head into the hands. And as you exhale, curving and rounding. Maybe bring the elbows together. And inhale, chest opens, elbows back. And exhaling, curving and rounding, elbows towards each other. And inhaling, chest open, elbows back. Again, exhaling. And inhaling. Good, now we're going to arch over to the right side. Keep pressing the head into the hands. And then inhaling up. And as you exhale, arching over to the left side. And then inhaling up. Go back to the right side. And inhaling up. Last time exhaling over to the left. And inhaling up. Release those hands. Now interlace the fingers behind the back. Bring the backs of the hands toward the ground. Lift the chest up, looking up And as you exhale, bring your bodies forward. Maybe your head comes onto a block. Maybe it comes all the way down to the ground. Arms up overhead. Throat stays soft. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then use the hands to lift yourselves up. And then release those hands. Good. We're going to draw our bodies forward. We're going to go side to side. So I'm going to pull myself back a little bit here. And just walk your hands forward. All right, come up onto the finger pads. So if you're not sure about this, maybe can you see? I'll do it this direction just so that you can see what I'm doing with my fingers. So I'm coming up onto the finger pads like your hands are spiders, okay? So again, if you know where we're going to go, if you need a block, have your block handy if your head does not come to the ground. So I don't want you just to let your head hang in space. It's so much more comfortable and puts your body at ease when you're not hanging in space. So you can use your block in whatever direction works for you. But bring yourselves forward. Again, I got to bring myself back. Bring yourselves forward, come up onto the finger pads as if you're playing the piano, and then inhale, peeking up. And exhale, forehead down. Again, inhale, peeking up. And exhale, folding forward. And inhaling, coming up. And exhaling. One more time, inhaling, coming up. And now walk your hands over to the right side, way beyond the knee, draping your body onto that right thigh, pushing the left sits bone into the mat. And breathe into the back body. Throat stays soft. And then walk the hands through center and take it over to the left thigh. Way beyond, walk those fingers beyond the knee, trying to drape your body over the left thigh. And then come back through center and walk the hands back to the shins. Good. Unwind those legs. Come on to your bottoms and place your hands behind you and just circle the ankles. And circle the ankles in the other direction. And then try to find your point of balance and bring the knees into the chest and just get small. And bring the toes to the ground. So you're pointing the toes, you're drawing the knees toward your chest. Good, and now flex the feet and point the toes. And flex the feet and point and flex and point. One more time. Flex and point. Good. Soles of the feet together, coming into your Baddha Konasana. Hands behind you and butterfly those knees. Like the knees are wings and they're just flying away. Very good. We're going to keep the right hand behind us, so let the legs just relax. The right hand's going to stay behind, and we're going to twist to look over the right shoulder. Left hand can come onto the right knee. You might get slightly light through the sits bones, but lifting up off the hip girdle to initiate a deeper twist. Draw the shoulders down the back body as you twist a little bit deeper, and the throat stays soft here, as is the gaze. And then release, and bring the left hand behind you, right to the knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, twisting. Feeling a stretch maybe through the top of the shoulder, through the belly, through the shoulder, through the trunk. Throat is soft, gaze is soft. Lifting up off the hip girdle. Good, and release. Nice. We're going to come onto our backs. Move my block. And we're going to just come into knees bent. Press the feet down into the mat. And what I'd like you to do is we're going to play a little bit with just some pelvic tilting. So I want you to draw the sacrum to the mat. So now the lordotic curve has disappeared. You're pressing the lower back into the mat. And just enjoy that feeling. With the lower back pressed into the mat, draw the knees towards each other. And just see how that feels. It's a much different beast than just drawing the lower back to the ground and keeping your thighs parallel. If you bring your knees together, some other magic happens. Enjoy the magic. And then release. Maybe take your feet a little bit wider. Press the lower back into the mat. See what that feels like. The belly's moving down toward the spine. And then draw the knees together. And with the knees drawing together, imagine you have a block between your thighs and you're drawing that block to the ground. And then release. It's like a little mouse could walk underneath, crawl underneath the lordotic curve. Take your feet maybe 1 more inch farther. Press the lower back down into the mat. And when you're ready, draw the knees towards each other. Marvelous feeling. Hip flexor, the quad, the IT band. Good, and release it. Bring the knees into the chest. As you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. And now head and shoulders back. We're going to stir the pot, 2 spoons. So hands are on the knees, and you can see where it gets its name. 2 spoons, stir the pot. And then stir the pot in the other direction. All right. Plant the feet so they're hip distance apart and drop the knees over to the side. As the knees fall over to the side, lengthen up off the top hip. So draw yourself away from this hip while you're internally rotating, drawing the knee toward the ground even more. And release and switch sides. So drop the knees over to the other side. Again, getting long through the side body, lifting up off this hip and drawing the knee closer to the ground. And bring those knees up. Bring the knees into the chest. Keep the knees wide. And as you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. Pressing now that lower back into the mat. And now head and shoulders back. We'll come into our Supta Baddha Konasana. So we did our Baddha Konasana earlier, but now we're on our back. Reach the arms overhead and walk your stretch. Reaching one arm and then the other. Walking, 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 lengthening the side body. Good job. Bring the knees into the chest, knees together. Exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. And we're going to go ahead and extend the left leg long. Actually, that's the right leg now. I'm going to stick with my mirroring. So the right leg long. Left knee's coming into the chest. And then we're going to switch. So energy through the heel. When the leg is extended, that's your Tadasana leg. So be very mindful of the directions that leg is traveling to keep the integrity of being in Tadasana. And switch, 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 and switch. Good, soles of the feet together, bring the head and shoulders down. Interlace the fingers behind the occiput, tent the fingers up, push the elbows into the ground, and you're going to pulse yourself up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Head and shoulders back. Reach the arms overhead as you drop the knees over to the left side. Back of the neck is long. And then drop the knees over to the right side. And then bring the knees up. Walk the feet closer to the glutes. You're going to grab for your block now. Block or your book, whatever you happen to have. And go ahead and place the block in between the thighs, closer down to the groins. And you're going to press into the block. So this is the action that I was talking about earlier. You press into the block and you move that block away from you. So you feel some movement through the hips. All right, place your hands down by your feet. Palms are spread like starfish. As you press into the block, I want you to press the lower back into the mat. All right, so you're pressing the lower back down into the mat. You're pushing the legs into the block like we did earlier, no block, and we're getting our knees to touch. And see how that makes the sits bones feel as though they're traveling, getting broader toward the side body. Palms are pressing. We're going to roll the hips up, coming into a bridge. Your Setu Bandha. Continue to press into the block and draw the block down toward the ground. With that action happening, you're going to take the sacrum and move it toward the creases of the knees. All right? Press the arm bones down. Maybe you roll them under, coming onto the outer edge of the pinky finger. Keep pressing into the block, lifting the hips up. Sacrum moving toward the creases of the knees. You press the feet down and away from you. And then take those arms overhead, thumbs touch the ground, and then roll down, vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. Good. Bring the knees into the chest. As you exhale, bring your head and shoulders up off the mat. Keep pressing into that block and moving the block away from you. And then head and shoulders back. Plant the feet. We're going to come into our Setu Bandha again. This time we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. So press into the block, push the lower back into the mat, and now lift the hips up. Roll the shoulders under, interlace the fingers, press the the pinky side into the mat as you press into the block, broadening the chest, rolling to the outer side, the outer shoulders, pardon me. And keep lifting the hips, pressing into the block. Maybe, if you're feeling it, you can elevate your Setu Bandha, pushing into the toes. Push those toes away as you continue to use that block. Push your inner thighs into the block, drawing the sacrum toward the creases of the knees while your throat stays soft. And then release the hands, reach the arms overhead, and you're going to roll down, vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. The last thing that's going to come down are actually your heels. Good. Bring the knees into the chest. Put your arms into a T. Keep pressing into that block, and bring the knees up toward the left elbow. But don't let the knees touch the ground. Keep pressing into the block. Don't let the knees touch the ground, and bring them as close to the elbow as possible. Feeling some delicious Uber length on that right side body. And then bring the knees into the chest. As you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. And head and shoulders back. Take the knees over to the right side, high up toward the elbow, but don't let the knees touch the ground. as you push into the block. And trying to keep those knees in line with each other. So maybe you have to lengthen this upper leg a little bit more. And then come back through center. As you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. We're going to go back to the first side, so head and shoulders back. Take those knees over toward the left elbow, pressing into the block. And now see if you can extend the right leg long. And breathe. Keep moving the hip away from the floating ribs on that right leg, the extended leg. And then bend the knee, bring it back into the chest. As you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. And now head and shoulders back. Move to the second side. I'm going to hit the wall, so let me move my body over a little bit. Knees are over toward the right elbow. And now extend that top leg. Energy through the heel, but lifting and lengthening the side body. Keep pressing into the block. Remember, the knees not touching the ground. And then bend that knee. Come back through center. Get back onto my mat. Bring your knees into the chest. And as you exhale, bring your head and shoulders up off the mat. And because we can, and you know how much I love this, we're going to roll our bodies up, continue to press into that block, up into your Ardha Navasana. Isn't that nice? The block really, I think, helps. We'll roll back down, bring the knees into the chest. So this is core, but trying to get into our Ardha Navasana where our shin bones are parallel to the ground. But the action of rolling up is full of grace and control. So let's go ahead. Sweep those arms forward. Extend the legs, find that point of balance where you're working the lower body and the upper body together. And here we are. Bring your chest and belly closer, draw the shoulders down, and maybe we extend the legs. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knees, remove the block, put that away. And we'll come into our Dandasana, so our staff pose. In your staff pose, if you want to continue to use your block so you kind of understand the feeling of what's happening through the hip girdle, put the block back in between your thighs. You can place your hands on the ground. In your Dandasana, just like in your downward facing dog and your forward fold, if you imagine you have the block here, you're pushing the thighs into the block, and you're trying to push that block into the ground. All right, so do that, please. Take my sweater off. So the legs are very active in your Dandasana, pushing into the block, moving it down. And as you do that, notice what happens through the sits bones. Pushing into the block, drawing the groins down, so you're moving the block into the mat. Hopefully you feel the sits bones traveling out to the side body. Trunk is very long, energy through the heels as we hold our Dandasana, our staff pose. If this bugs your lower back, then roll up the mat. You would roll it, roll it, roll it, and you would just put it underneath the sits bone. So it tilts you forward. That gives you a little bit more, comfort so that you can turn your awareness into what you're focusing on. Okay? Good. We're going to inhale, take the arms up. And as you exhale, press into the block. As you press into the block, draw your bodies forward. So we're moving toward a Paschimottanasana. But you're using the block, so press the groins into the block, feel the sits bones traveling back, and you can place your hands down. So I want you to try to keep the trunk nice and long. Trunk nice and long. Back of the neck is long as well, as opposed to, I'll draw my block down, as opposed to doing this. we've kind of lost the integrity of the forward fold. So we want to keep the chest nice and long and broad, pushing into the block, pushing the block down, lengthen the body. And breathe. Keep letting the sits bones travel back as you draw your body forward, farther forward. And then release. Unroll my mat. Very nice. Don't turn my fireplace off because now it's getting too hot. Good. Okay, coming on to all fours into your table position. Fingers are spread like starfish, toes are tucked under. As you exhale, curve and round, spine up to the sky. Inhale, belly drops, head, tail, and shoulders come up. As you exhale, look over the right shoulder, right hip forward. And inhale through center. And as you exhale, left shoulder, left hip together. Inhale through center. Bring your hands one hand's distance forward and take the hips back. Curve the spine, drop the head, let it hang and look between your thighs. Move the shoulders to the outer side body. Maybe you can tiger claw, walking the hands farther forward even more so you're stretching the armpit chest. And then plant those hands, inhale up. Exhale, extend your body way forward, chest in between the hands, elbows in. Inhaling up. Exhale, taking it back. Inhaling up, curving through that hollowing cat. Exhaling, extending the chest away forward. Inhaling up. Exhale, taking it back. Again, inhaling up. Exhale, chest, chin forward. Lift the knees up off the ground. Drop them down for 5. And up. 4. And up. 3. And up. 2. And up. 1. And up. Drop it all the way down. Tops the feet on the mat. Roll the shoulders back. Bhujangasana. Look over the left shoulder. Inhale through center. Exhale. Look over the right shoulder. Inhale through center. Exhale all the way down. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up. Bring yourself up through your table and back to your child's pose. Forehead on the ground. Bring your hands by your feet. Make fists with those hands and rotate through the wrists. And rotate the wrists in the other direction. Good. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Draw the shoulder blades together and take those arms overhead. Throat stays soft. Arms are overhead. Tops of the feet are on the mat. Toenails are pressing into the mat. And then use the strength of these arms to lift you all the way up. Plant your hands. Move my block. Plant your hands and lift the knees up off the ground. So you're stretching the tops of the feet, broadening the chest, let the head hang back. And then come forward, hands forward, tuck the toes under, exhale, cat bow. Drop it all the way down, roll the shoulders back, Bhujangasana. Exhale all the way down, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, press up through your table, come onto the tops of the feet, roll yourselves back, hands behind the feet, lift the knees up, open the chest up, bring the knees down. You get it, toes tucked under, exhale, cat bow, drop it all the way down, Bhujangasana. All the way down, tuck the toes under, hips up, press up through your table, untuck those toes, let yourself kind of rock back, broadening the chest, coming up higher onto the tops of the feet, bring the knees down, hands forward, toes tucked under, chest, chin. Drop it down, Bhujangasana. Exhaling down, tuck the toes under, lift up through your table, and now we're going to go to your child's pose. Full child's pose. Make fists with the hands, rotate through the wrists. Rotate the wrists in the other direction. Good, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and we're going to go into an easy, hopefully you'll find easy garland. So tuck the toes under, and you're going to let the feet bring the heels together. And we'll do it this way. So heels are touching, knees are wide, and sort of a Baddha Konasana, but the base of the foot, the total sole of the foot's not touching. We can do that later. And let the hips drop down, sort of behind the heels. All right, so as the hips drop down behind the heels, drawing your bodies closer to the ground, you can keep your hands here for stability, or to go into your full garland, bring the hands underneath the shins, behind the heels, and then you can pull on those heels, draw them forward as you draw yourselves down. And breathe, throat stays soft, let the head hang. Nice, release, hands land. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tap our knee, one knee to the ground, like that. Lift it up, drop the opposite to the ground, and just move side to side. Feel what you feel. It's a different stretch. Just a little bit different. Take your time. Let those body parts talk to you. So you can say, oh, I'm a little tight there, or wow, I never thought I could do that. But I guess, why do I want to do that? And what does that help me with? Being able to move your body in as many directions as you possibly can is always helpful. Because you know, when we get older and we become stiffer and we fall, it'll help us in our falling. So hopefully we won't fall as dramatically, or we won't fall at all, because we will have had this interesting, deep dialogue with our body that we know it knows. It's more supple. And the conversation we're used to with our bodies clicks in. Fear doesn't happen because our bodies say, hey, we can do this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to balance here. So pushing the feet together, bringing the shoulders over the hips. Maybe you bring your hands into Namaste. And we just sort of enjoy and breathe and say, hey, wow, what are my feet saying to me? What are my toes saying to me? That's a shin. I feel my shins. Why do I feel my shins? That's a bone. Well, we've got muscles around all those bones. Am I wobbly? Hey, that's kind of cool. Am I drawing my shoulders down toward the ground? Hopefully, yes. All right, bring your hands down, bring your knees in, and tap the tops of those feet out. It's all good. It's actually better than good, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have a body that tries to do what you ask it to do, and that you are, as I said earlier, the captain of your ship. Circle those ankles, please, so that if anything doesn't sound right, or you try it and you're like, not my thing, then you don't have to do it. But we always want to try, because we find, again, as we get older, I'm getting older, when we stop trying new things, we start to put the things that we used to do aside and aside. And sometimes all the things we used to do are kind of overwhelming, and all the things that we can do become less and less. And a lot of that has to do with some fear. So we want to make sure that we continue to move and play and try and discover. You know, as we age, yeah, we don't move quite as well, but we still can move. And we want to continue the movement. So hopefully you're still playing with me here. Balancing, moving down, doing as you wish, what feels good, because we want to continue to play, just like babies play. All right, come into your table. Enough of that heavy talk, Dana. Tops the feet on the mat. Keep the tops of the feet on the mat. I want you to lift your knees up off the ground and press the hips back. And again, say good morning to something you're going to be feeling. And then bring the knees down, tuck the toes under. Exhale, curve and rotate the spine up to the sky. Inhale, belly drops, head, tail, and shoulders come up. Good, we're going to go ahead and take your knees just slightly wider. Place the right hand underneath the face and draw back on the bowstring. And circle the left wrist. And circle the wrist in the other direction. And now circle the entire arm. And circle the arm in the other direction. Good, we're going to plant that hand, and we're going to draw back on the bowstring, switching sides. So the right hand's in the sky, circle the wrist. Circle the wrist in the other direction. And circle the whole arm. And circle the arm in the other direction. Good, plant that hand. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, hand lands, take your hips back. Inhale, lift the arm up, draw the hips forward. Exhaling, hips back. Inhaling, and hips back. Inhaling, exhaling, hips back. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. One more time each side. Good job. Walk your hands as far forward as you can, forehead on the ground, coming into your puppy pose. From your puppy pose, we're going to come up into our table. Exhale, cat bow. Lift the knees up off the ground. Hold it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop it all the way down. Tops the feet on the mat. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale all the way down. Bring your hands by your feet, palms face down. Forehead on the ground so the back of the neck is long. Lift the legs up. Lift the chest up. Maybe you walk those fingers closer toward your toes. Lift those legs up a little bit more. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, brighten, lifting a little bit more, 2, and 1. Good. Hands land, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, press up through your table, and back to your puppy pose. From your puppy pose, inhale up through your table. We're going to come to our side. So you're going to plant the right hand, right knee, right foot's tucked under, and extend the left leg. All right, we've done this in some of my other classes. Draw back on the bowstring. This is going to go back to our balance. So we're going to take that arm overhead, so it's parallel to the ground, and then lift the left leg off the ground. Good, we're going to bring our knee and elbow together for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Plant the hand, lift the foot up, pulse it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Externally rotate it, pulse it forward, sorry, adjust my other knee. This bugs your knee, double up your mat. Pulse it forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it closer for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knees to touch, lift it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift it higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Normally I do that to 10. Okie dokie, we're going to move to the second side. So I will have my back towards you, apologies. Extend the right leg long. Draw back on the bowstring. Chest is broad, rooting through the outer edge of that back foot as we try to find our balance. And then reach the arm overhead. Once we find that we do have our balance, because we're going to be lifting that foot off the ground. If you don't, if this is like a very precarious situation for you, move the other foot to create a kickstand. So you have like a little car, like a little tripod here. All right, up to you. Play, but ultimately we want to be able to lift the leg up, however the foundation is, and then bring the knee and elbow together for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant the hand, sole of the foot parallel to the ceiling, pulse it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Externally rotate it, pulse it towards your elbow for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it closer for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knees to touch. Lift it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse it higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring the knee down. Your wrists might need a little bit of a break, so turn the backs of the hands onto the mat. Spread the fingernails like starfish. Lengthen the arm bones. Draw the shoulders back. As you exhale, curve and round. Take the spine up to the sky. And then inhale, belly drops. And exhale again. Continue to press those fingernails into the mat. And inhale. One more time. Exhaling. And inhaling. Good job. Make fists with those hands. Bring those fists way forward of your shoulders. Draw your hips back towards your heels. Maybe your forehead comes to the ground, shoulders to the outer side body. Keep that top knuckle pressing into the mat. And then inhale up through your table. Exhale. Cat bow. Inhaling up. Exhale. Hips back. Inhaling up. Exhale. Chest chin forward. Inhaling up. And take it back. Good. We're going to now come into a toe balance with a twist. So I will face you. So tuck the toes under and balance. Okay? So in order to balance, we want to start to draw everything into the midline. Knit yourselves together. All right? In my classes, I used to use, especially with my younger kids, a Play-Doh Fun Factory. So as you put the Play-Doh in and you squish it through, it exudes, whatever shape that is out. So this is kind of what you're doing. You're sort of like the form, and you're pushing everything together so that you get longer and taller, like beautiful shapes of Play-Doh will be coming out your head, I suppose. Yeah, works with kids. Anyway, press your hands together into Namaste, and go ahead, place the right elbow on the left thigh, push the elbow into the thigh, and lift the chest up. Lifting the pelvic floor, shoulders away from the ears. Enjoying this delicious little twist here with a balance. Always good. Inhale, bring the arms straight up. And as you exhale, twisting to the second side. Elbow on the thigh, keep the knees in line. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Lift yourselves up off the hip girdle. And breathe. And then inhale, take those arms up. Can we do it the first side again? I think we can. Elbow on the thigh. I'm taking it nice and slow, dragging it out so it actually is a bit harder. Because this allows us to really connect the dots within ourselves. Feet connected to the ankles, the toes, the heels to the calves, and switching other side. When you rush through, you kind of miss part of that journey of what's telling you something and what's silent. Chances are there's not much through your legs right now that is very silent. And then bring your hands down, knees down, tap out the tops of the feet. We're almost done with class. Oh my goodness. All right, so what I was going to do, I guess I cannot do. So let's try this. Let's go ahead and move the flesh away from, move the calf muscles away. And we'll just sit in our Virasana for a moment. If this is impossible, if you do not like that, it's not going to happen, take a block and sit on your block, but move the flesh of the sits bones away, and of the calf muscle away. And when you sit on the block, it's underneath your sits bones. Okay? And I will remove my block. And just breathe. Lifting the pelvic floor. Feeling length through the front body, the back body, and the side body. Maybe bring your hands behind you. Lift the chest up. Shake out the neck. And just feel what you feel. I feel a lot here. This is not my favorite position to sit. So I should really try to sit this way more. You know, even yoga teachers have their aversions. My other aversion, if I can be quite honest and frank with you, is back bending. I don't back bend well. My back bend is pretty straight. It's like a table. But it is how I'm built in baby steps. But that's what yoga is all about, being aware of where you are, having, I think, a sense of humor and grace with the place where you are, and just little by little trying to continue to grow the dialogue inside our bodies so that maybe it gives us a little bit more and maybe a little bit more, and we can come to an agreement. For now, as the next second, it may be a whole nother story. All right, let's come out of our Virasana, and gee whiz, we're almost done with class. Cross your ankles. We'll come back onto our backs again. Move my block. And we'll come into an eagle twist. So bring your knees into the chest. As you exhale, head and shoulders up off the mat. And then head and shoulders back. Take your legs up to the sky and take your legs wide. We're going to bring the left leg forward and the right leg back, so that when we try to come into our eagle, a lot of people try to come into eagle kind of like this, and the cross needs to happen much lower down on the leg. So you take your legs wider than your hips, bring the left leg forward, the right leg back, and cross closer up toward the groin. Then we have a much greater chance of being able to wrap. Okay? So now that we've wrapped, we're going to drop the knees over to the right side. And maybe your gaze is over the left shoulder. Maybe you take your block and you place your block underneath the knee so it has some place to land, because we want to keep the shoulder planted here, so you're not hanging in space. You might be comfortable with that, but if you're not comfortable and your shoulder's up, plant the shoulder and use the block. And breathe into the belly. A little spinal twist. Very good. Bring the legs the knees up. And now bring those eagle legs into the chest. As you exhale, bring your head and shoulders up off the mat. And then head and shoulders back. We're going to unwind the legs. Come into your happy baby. Press the feet up, pull the feet down. As you exhale, bring your head and shoulders up off the mat. And then head and shoulders back. We're going to go into our eagle twist, second side. So take the legs up to the sky, separate the legs, move the right leg, draw it towards you, left leg away, so that you can cross close up at the groin, and then twist. Drop the knees over to the left side, planting the right shoulder, gazing over the right shoulder toward the right hand. Again, if this is a little bit too much, then feel free to put a block to hold yourselves up. And your figure four, or not your figure four, but your eagle, it just may be an impossibility. That's okay. Wherever you are, maybe just draw the legs over. Maybe it's sort of a lazy jackknife twist. Whatever works for you. We're more concerned with the twist, the belly, the lower back. Breathing into the belly, feeling the inhalation, move it away from your spine. And as you exhale, let it draw back toward the spine. And then unwinding, bring the knees into the chest, nice and wide, head and shoulders up off the mat. And then head and shoulders back, extend one leg long, pierce the ground with the heel. Do the same with the opposite. Robot arms, roll the shoulders under, release the hands, palms face up, and relax the legs, Shavasana. Begin to bring your awareness deeper in the spaces of your bodies by deepening your breath, licking your lips and swallowing, and gently rock the head side to side. Begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, and stretch the arms overhead, stretching long and tall from the tips of the fingers down to the bottoms of the toes. And then bring one knee into the chest, giving it a hug. Bring the other knee in, giving both knees a hug, appreciating your bodies for the magnificent gifts that they are to you, and that you are each one of us. Then let go of your knees and roll to your side. And while you're there with your eyes shut, think of 3 things you're grateful for today. And then, keeping the eyes closed, press yourself up to a comfortable dynamic seat. And bring your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. We'll share a breath, so exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to your heart center. Bow your head, honoring yourself, your community, this tradition of yoga. Hands to the brow, signifying right thoughts. To the lips for right words. And to the heart for right actions. Namaste.